All right. And let's throw on some nice old tunes. And let's see, audio mixing. Where is that going to be like? So that's down there. You are up here and... All right. Okay, cool. Should probably turn up my audio levels just a tiny bit so that ours is somewhere along the same lines. And we are live recording right now. Alright, so greetings everybody. Welcome
Hello, all of you.
Welcome to the Not Moo podcast. My name is Ian Garland.
I'm Cameron, Francisco.
And let's get right into this bullshit.
Alright, never do that.
Alright, I apologize for that. Someone just assassinate me at this rate.
You're not sorry. I don't believe you.
Yeah, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Coward.
Alright. So, what have you been listening to this week, Cameron? Enlighten me a little bit.
Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 by Aphex Twin.
Interesting. You know, tell me a little bit about that.
Alright, so... Imagine, like... just, like, slowly falling into a dream.
Slowly falling into a dream? That sounds
And,
pretty
and occasionally being emotional about it. And sometimes being scared by it. But sometimes just being, like, calmly... Just being calm about it. Now imagine feeling that for 2.5 hours.
That honestly sounds like having one of Burzum's ambient albums on repeat for a couple hours. But yeah.
Or that's also just the experience of listening to Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 once.
Fair enough.
It's a long album.
I'll have to like add that to my list because that honestly sounds like kind of neat. Selected Ambient Works Volume 1. Sweet.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. Okay, alright. Nifty. Is it all just Aphex Twin's work, or is it just
Yeah.
like... Oh, alright.
Yeah. All by Aphex Twin. An interesting thing that like I was looking into is the way that the tracks are titled. And by that I mean they're not. So, like if you were to get the album on Apple Music, all the tracks are like track 1 is just called number 1. And track 2 is number 2. And they're all that, except for track 13, which is called Blue Calx, which is weird because there's another Aphex Twin song called Yellow Calx on another album that I have. But the interesting thing is that if you wanted to, like, for example, track 3, it's just called number 3. But if you actually wanted to like look it up on YouTube to find it, you would look up like Aphex Twin Rhubarb. Because there's this weird thing where there are these images that are associated with each track.
All right.
I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I know the first 4. I know that 1 is Cliffs, 2 is Radiator, 3 is Rhubarb, and then 4 is Hanky. And then there are all the tracks except for 13, because 13 is Blue Calx. All of them have that. And it's also interesting. I was looking up the way that that's signified in the vinyl packaging, because since the album's so long, it's held on 3. There are 3 records, so it's a 6-side album. And
cool. Sorry.
There are these. If you look inside the packaging, there are these 6 circles representing each side, and they're all pie charts. And each track, each side has 4 tracks except for one of them that has 5. And there are all these little pie charts, and the size of the section is like the length of the track. And then there are all these images that have another version of the pie chart, except one of the sections is filled in. That's how you know which song is which. It's a weird little puzzle thing, but like Aphex Twin fans have gathered it all together and decided on pretty much unofficial titles for the song that are widely accepted at this point.
Huh. That's pretty neat. And I should just look at this. This album came out in '94.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I didn't realize Aphex Twin was around this long.
Yeah, he's been around since like the 80s.
Damn. That's a little bit of a shocker to the system, I guess. But
I guess.
I don't know.
I mean, he is one of the earliest and most revolutionary electronic artists ever.
Nifty. I shall definitely have to check this out at some point when I get the chance to. Let's see. What, wait, do you have like the vinyl of it itself? Or just kind of referencing images?
No, I don't have the vinyl of it. It's honestly. Let me just have a look at how much it probably costs on Amazon to get the vinyl of that. It's probably expensive.
Somewhere up in the 200 range, probably.
I don't know. I guess I'll find out. But no, I don't have the vinyl of it. But I was just like looking all this up and I found out about that. All right, selected ambient. Okay, so the first three are a different version of Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92, which is the first ambient album you made.
Yep.
Okay, so. Oh wow. 35.
$35 just for it?
Well, no, $30.35.
$30.35?
Yeah, for the vinyl of Selected Ambient Works too.
$30. That's insane.
Of course, it says only 4 left in stock, but you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So if you wanted to, you could easily order that. It's better than this one album I was looking at a little while ago. Insomnium released a special Shadows of the Dying Sun record. Well, for their record, second most recent, and it's pure white, but with a bunch of like crows kind of flying around the center, kind of similar to how the album artwork looks. And the only place I could find it was on a site for selling vinyls, and it was like the lowest was $75 for it.
Wow.
So yeah, you're in a bit of a better situation if you were to find a special edition of that, or just any release of that.
Yeah, it doesn't say that it's a special edition or anything. I don't even know if there is a special edition.
If there's a special edition, that's probably expensive.
Probably. I mean, but again, it's 3 records.
Yeah, 3 records. That's just for like $30 for like 3 records. That's insane, honestly. Like most releases are.
But I mean, I guess it's not like as sought after or like rare as something like Trout Mask Replica.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which would probably be more expensive, even though it's 2 records. But it's still a double album.
Yeah. How much did Trout Mask Replica cost you anyway?
I don't know.
Was that a gift or something?
Yes.
Whoa, you lucky dog, you. But just a quick question: is this Selected Ambient Works like all work from him, or is it like other artists too?
You already asked that question.
Did I? Oh.
Yes.
And
yes, it is all Aphex Twin.
My apologies. I am halfway paying attention. But anywho, anything else about Selected Ambient Works you want to talk about?
Radiator and Rhubarb are a couple of very good tracks. One thing I find interesting is because it's an ambient album, I can listen to the songs like I can like go out like in like a public space and just like listen to the song and it won't interrupt anything because it's an ambient album. I don't even have to care that my music's up loud. It's not interrupting anything.
I mean, all people probably hear is like a powerful bass coming out of your headphones, maybe.
Well, not even that. Just like luscious, what sounds like string sections on Rhubarb. I'm on a pretty big Rhubarb kick today. So I remember a couple of days ago, I just had Radiator, the second song, just on loop while reading the story of this like a horribly fucked up human being.
Damn. Was it fitting?
So I was just reading. I was like, oh my god! But at the same time, I was listening to Radiator on loop, so I couldn't. So I was like, kind of in like a calm state, but I was just thinking to myself, I was like, oh my god.
That's an interesting experience to be in. I guess it'd be something akin to like reading what Varg Vikernes has done while listening to his ambient works. There's this innate sense of like calm while like, oh crap, what has this guy done? He's kind of a monster. That's pretty neat.
But of course, like that and like the person I was reading about, like there are two different experiences. Like you have Varg, who's like a horrible monster person, and then you have the person I was reading about who, like, just ended up in just like so many like horrible life situations because of like his mental state.
Yeah, that's fair. But
I would talk about it, but it has nothing to do with music, so I can't.
Yeah. I think we've kind of exhausted this Aphex Twin album, so let's move on to something else, shall we?
Yeah. So, what do you listen to?
What have I listened to? Well,
yeah.
So a few weeks ago, when Anthony Fantano was reviewing the new Slowdive record, he suggested 2 post-punk records throughout them. One of them was called Is R by Dive, which I basically listened to the entire thing while planning marigolds for the South Shore Music Circus. And holy crap, is this really neat. Like, this record by Dive, I don't know, it's got the nice, like, Smithsy vibe that you'd expect out of post-punk, but it's got a nice kind of modern flair to it. It just gives it a nice, perfect packaging for it. When I was listening to it, it kind of felt like what I was hoping what the new Slowdive record would have sounded like, and it really, I don't know, it just felt like a really nice something to listen to, and it's honestly, I don't know, it's honestly something to check out if you're ever curious about what post-punk is doing in the modern day. This record came out like last year, don't know when exactly it came out, but another one I ended up listening to this week was Beach Fossils' Clash of the Truth, which is basically another post-punk record. Came out in 2013. And it was kind of cool to listen to that too. Both of them offered nice little shake-ups and kind of an interesting flavor that I've never really listened to before because I'm just getting into all these post-musics. Yeah. All these different little post-genres. I still have yet to touch post-hardcore because, well, But I mean, checking out post-rock and post-punk, it's been an interesting musical experience seeing like what these artists are doing with these genres and doing with these ideas that they have in their head. Some of them aren't super unique, but nevertheless they are very fun tracks all in all, and very fun albums and just good experiences. I feel like everyone should probably listen to a little bit of post-punk, and if you can, just kind of try and form some opinion on it. Try and find something you might like about it, because it's something that hasn't really got much love outside of like, the Smiths and the Velvet Underground, and a little bit of Depeche Mode, since they do kind of count as post-punk in some places.
Have you listened to Post?
Post? Just Post?
Yeah.
Is that an actual artist or genre?
It's an album.
Post by who?
Björk.
Post by Björk. You know what? I haven't. Yeah, I will have to check that out, honestly. Art Pop.
Yeah, I just thought of that because you were talking about all the posts that you were listening to, and I was like, hey, I know a post.
You know, alright, that's fair enough. That's hey, yes. So my next post shall be Post by Björk. Alright. Is that that should be on Apple Music. All of her music's up on there.
Yeah.
But let's see. I mean, that's just me kind of aimlessly rambling on a little bit about what I've been listening to. I mean, I've also listened to a fair amount of hip hop, a fair amount of like jazz, because it's just a week for jazz, I think, and a little bit of Earth, Wind and Fire. And a little bit of Coltrane too. Coltrane it felt like a very nice Coltrane week. You know, I really liked listening to some jazzy stuff. I felt like it kind of really took some of the edge off of the week. and I really recommend checking out Landmark Record Giant Steps by him. If you're having a kind of week where you just need some kind of relaxation from it all.
Listen, I'm getting enough relaxation. We were just talking about Selected Ambient Works Volume 2.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't need to be recommended any more recommendation. I mean,
okay.
Relaxation. I already have 2.5 hours of it.
Fair enough, but those 2.5 hours may end up getting a little bit stale after a while.
All right, then I'll just go to the other Ambient Works album that he made. One before 2.
Fair enough. But if you ever get around to it, Giant Steps by John Coltrane is nice. Very nice. Shoot, is there anything else that really stood out to me this week? Oh, so I found out, I think like right after we had our show last week, I ended up finding the Mountain Goats had a new album called Goths. And it sounded honestly a lot like what our main review was doing, but without guitars basically. A lot of experimental, interesting poppy stuff. That, I mean, I guess if you like to Get Divorced, you might want to check it out. The album art really stuck out to me as something that you'd see in one of those Facebook pages that create images mocking people of a certain group, kind of like a green text, but not. You know what I'm talking about?
I believe so.
But anywho, that's just like what the art reminds me of, but the rest of the album is kind of nice, soothing, little bit of like weird, got that little quirky feeling that you'd expect from like some indie acts. But it feels like it's got a lot of heart to it, and a few people have been hyping it up in the Implying We Can Discuss Music group. So I'd say check that out if you haven't checked that out. Just give it a little bit of a listen. Rain in Soho is a little bit kind of dreary, but like the rest kind of gets pretty great. Like Unicorn Tolerance is a little bit of a standout on the record. Andrew Elrich is moving back to Leeds is another standout. A very, very kind of poppy, but very, very fun as well. Yeah, so nothing too super interesting. There's also, are you familiar with Filthy Frank and Pink Guy?
Yeah.
Alright, well, apparently he released an EP to Pink's season called The Prophecy, which has a remix of 4 different songs off of it, and then a big kind of mix of the 4 songs as the 5th track. The songs that he remixed are Dumplings, Fried Noodles, Shut the Fuck Up, and Are You Serious? Which are honestly really weird tracks in like the way they're remixed, but they're very fun and kind of play along house inspiration. They play a lot along regular trap rap inspiration. They're the same like madness that George Miller, Filthy Frank puts on his tracks, but with a little bit more of a out there production style, and kind of takes it from its just jokey setting to something almost super legitimate, and kind of legitimizes what he does as an artist. Because I mean, like, to have like 4 artists like Borgor, Getter, Tasty Treat, and Axel Boy, one of those being one of the only recognizable names on there, remixing his music, it's pretty interesting. And just seeing like this artist I followed for a few years getting a fair amount of mainstream attention. He already did with like Pink Season's release, like reaching #1 in iTunes and Spotify charts. But it's just kind of cool to see like more mainstream attention to him, and I hope that George Miller keeps up this crazy music production style, just this crazy out of this world concepts. Not really out of this world, but just kind of like crazy and stupid and funny and absolutely weird. Have you even listened? Have you listened to Pink Season at all?
I don't really have all that much interest in it.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. It's not for everyone. It's something if you just want to have a good time. Like when I was hanging out with Jake Kearney and my brother, we all was just like driving around listening to Pink Season, and it was fun as like a meme. But it's not really something to be appreciated as like a serious work, really. So I mean, I don't know if you'd like it or not, but I'd say check it out at some point just to see what it's like.
I mean, I'm not totally against comedy music.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's comedy but in a very edgy, weird way. My only complaint right now is that they took I think iTunes removed one of the songs off of the main album, which was, what was it called again? I think it was called White is Right, but that's because the song was a big joke on a lot of the people in the South, or the people who are legitimately racist and whatnot. And it was kind of like missing the point on why it was removed, or why they decided to remove it. And I don't know, that's my only complaint with the whole situation and the album itself. It's not a full complete piece now that like that track's removed, but it's still like 34 tracks of like weird shit and a lot of dumb stuff. So it's not super big of a loss. It wasn't really any standouts, but that's just that. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that Boston Calling on Saturday.
Boston Calling. All right, so I went to Boston Calling on Saturday. The lineup for Saturday, specifically for Saturday, was... Yeah, go to Boston Calling lineup. Wait a few seconds for it to load. All right, so Saturday it was Mumford & Sons, The XX, The 1975, Nathaniel Radcliffe and the Night Sweats, Tegan and Sarah, Brandy Carlisle, Majid Jordan, Oh Wonder, Danny Brown, Cousin Stiz, Russ, Strand of Oaks, Moses Sumney, Kevin Morby, Takei Meiza, and Alexander Xavier. Of course, there were some comedy acts that I didn't end up seeing. Those being Hannibal Buress, Phoebe Robinson, Jordan Rock, and Bethany Van Delft. But who I did end up seeing, the two main acts that I did definitely want to see when I went there were Danny Brown and Brandy Carlisle, who a lot over here. In my family, we listen to a lot of Brandy Carlisle, along with some other artists who are kind of similar to her, like Jason Isbell. But Brandy Carlisle ended up coming to Boston Calling, and I thought that is wonderful. She put on a great show with her band. It was incredibly fun. Wonderful to see her. I did end up catching Danny Brown, not the entire set because I kind of cut in with Brandy's. But I saw him perform Pneumonia, and then he performed a song that I didn't know that I eventually looked up, and it was him featuring on like a different song and on like someone else's song, and that was fun. I did see a bit of Tegan and Sarah, and what they were doing with their sounds interesting. I might look into them. One person I want to talk about specifically, who I didn't know previously, but I got to know when I saw them, was this guy Moses Sumney, who seemed to be this. All right, so it was him and two other guitarists. One of them had like also this weird saxophone horn thing. And what he would do was, I guess he had like a loop pedal connected to his microphone, and he would like make beats by hitting the microphone for percussion. And then like there would be like some flourishes of melody from the guitarists. Like one of them might, like the one with the horn, might have used that as well, and that like he sung almost exclusively in falsetto. Interesting.
That's a little weird, but
yeah, I remember he started playing, and I thought it sounded interesting, but I wanted to like I wanted to know, like, because I knew that there were two stages in front of me, and I knew that there was a third one. I wanted to go find a third one, just to know where it was. So So while he was playing, I actually went over and found the third stage. And then, you know, I saw there was this guy Russ playing. He was just kind of a very mediocre rapper. So I went back to the other stages where Moses Sumney was playing, and I just hear like the synth line "To Come to Me" by Björk. I'm just like, is that what it is? Is that what I'm hearing right now? And I just like approached him, and like I heard him singing, and it was the song, and I was just like, oh my god, he's playing "Come to Me." I just walk in, he's playing like a deep album cut off of Debut. Which, I mean, like, probably doesn't mean all that much to you because you're not a Björk fan, but but like to someone who like knows Björk's discography, like just like randomly walking in on someone covering a deep album cut off of Debut is just kind of weird. But Debut was like my second favorite Björk album, so I was happy about it.
I mean, I kind of understand it in a way. I appreciate like when artists like, or like when people go out of their way to like bring up artist songs that are like really never brought up at all. But I mean, that must have been a freaking phenomenal experience.
It was fun.
Did you end up? Sorry.
What were you saying?
I was gonna ask if you ended up catching the XX's set there.
I did. I saw the XX.
What did you
cool.
think?
They were cool.
All right, cool. I feel
cool
sad that
stuff happened.
Yeah, I feel bad that I missed them because from what I heard, they have like a really cool light show going on at their shows. But I mean, I can always try and catch them around another point when the tickets aren't $100.
Yeah.
But as you were saying.
Yeah, after Moses Sumney, I believe what happened was on the other stage, Oh Wonder started playing. And they were cool too. They, you know, another kind of weird indie band doing things. I remember I went back over to the blue stage to see what was going on. And you know, I saw a little bit of Majid Jordan. He seemed to kind of have this ethereal kind of R&B sound.
That's neat.
That was cool, but then I immediately went back over to the other stages because I didn't want to miss Brandi Carlile, and I didn't, and it was wonderful.
That's good you didn't miss her then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame you kind of missed out on him, but you know, I mean, you got to see Brandi Carlile.
I was only like slightly interested in Majid Jordan. Like he seemed cool, but like I'm not necessarily torn up about the fact that I missed him for Brandi Carlile.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, and next up. All right. So I guess does that sum up your thoughts on Boston Calling, or is there anything else you want to talk about? Say about it?
There was this one point that over at the blue stage when the 1975 started playing, I just walked over to like this empty patch of grass and started just doing like a weird dance. I was hoping that I was hoping that people would just like join in on my weird dance, but nobody did, so I gave up and walked away.
Oh well. I mean, hey, you got a little bit of enjoyment out of it at least. I've always kind of been morbidly curious about the 1975, but I just never really had the motivation. Are they any bit good?
From what I noticed, now I only heard the few songs that I heard them play live, and then one other song that I heard the Caps play live once. But they seem to be like one way to describe them. They're very like you hear one song and you pretty much heard them all. Essentially.
So they're a little bit bland, you'd say?
I guess.
I mean,
there's not really all that much like about them from song to song. Like if the sound that you hear is something that you like, then that's cool. You're just gonna hear a lot of it. Like it's not the kind of thing that like
It's not the thing where you're looking for variety. It's a thing where you're looking just for a lot of samey but good stuff.
It's all right. Yeah, of course, I don't really necessarily think that like their discography entirely would be for me. Like there is one song that I do happen to enjoy by them, and honestly, from hearing their discography, I think that one song is enough.
All right.
I got that sound in the one song that I like, and then the other songs just don't appeal to me as much. But it was fun doing a little dance, in the middle of a patch of grass, hoping for someone to join in, and then nobody did. Cowards.
Cowards indeed. But yeah, it must have been a good time. Was it well worth the money to get into it?
Yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Sweet. I'll have to hopefully get into Boston Calling next year, and hopefully catch some other big artists. Who knows what they'll be, but when they do come around, I would love to catch that. But let's see. I guess that concludes that. Shall we talk a little bit about Joe Foland's set?
I guess.
All right, so Joe Foland played the other night at the Banner right in Rockland, and he played a lot of neat old dad rock songs. He's kind of following in the footsteps of the Caps and playing there every so often. What did he play after Catherine and I took off?
More of the same kind of dad rock songs.
Fair enough.
See, like the difference between him and the Caps is that like the Caps are specifically playing the rock songs that everybody knows, just in general.
Yep.
But Joe was definitely playing toward the audience that he had specifically. Like, with the Caps, you get like the real well-known dad rock songs, as well as some like more modern rock songs, which of course again are the ones that you can consider the ones that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Whereas with Joe, he did go in the direction of, he played a couple covers by the band. He did a couple Johnny Cash songs. He did some Allman Brothers, specifically because of Greg Allman. He did. Yeah, he did that kind of thing that like specifically the audience, the dads would most likely know. Even if they were songs that wouldn't be known by absolutely everyone. All
right, fair. That's fair. I mean, did you end up filling any of the requests that were on that sheet?
What? The requests on the sheet. He didn't do American Pie. No, I don't think that he did.
Oh well.
I don't think he did any of that.
Well, I mean, with all the outrageous requests he was getting, it's just like, can't really do any of them. Can't really expect it all anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I suggested Rattlesnake, but it's like you can't play that without a microtonal instrument. So that was just kind of a joke thrown in there anyway.
Well, like, I mean, I'm sure that I don't know if he would necessarily be against playing a King Gizzard song. Just not one of them off of, the album that's all about microtones.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, trying to cover them without the microtonal equipment probably just doesn't feel right and wouldn't come off as well as it did on the King Gizzard record.
Yeah.
But all in all, good show, and here's hoping he does more, right?
Yeah.
Yay. But, let's see. Anything else you want to talk about before we get right into the meat and potatoes of this situation?
Is there? Let me just have a quick here. No, not really.
All right, so
I mean, I got the two Avalanche's albums. I just haven't listened to them yet, so I can't really talk about them. I just have them.
let me tell
They
you,
are ready.
Since I Left You is freaking beautiful. It's a little bit weird to get into, but it's your kind of weird. Like, you will love it for loving, like, Trap
Listen,
Mask
I'm
Replica.
not afraid of weird.
You will love it since you love Trap Mask Replica. It's... You got, like, the summary of Avalanches in your head, right? Or do you just going in there blind?
I mean, I know of Frankie Sinatra off of Wildflower and Frontier Psychiatrist.
Alright, so... You kind of know what you're getting into. Just everything
For
is...
the most part, yeah. I know that, like...
melodies and whatnot.
Yeah, I know that, like, you look into the lyrics of Frontier Psychiatrist, there's one paragraph that just looks like someone, like, rapidly hit predictive text. And just let it go. Let me just read this paragraph. Avalanches above, business continues below. Did I ever tell you the story of cowboys and midgets and Indians and Frontier Psychiatrist? I feel strangely hypnotized. I was in another world, a world of 20,000 girls, and milk and rectangles to be an optometrist. A man with the golden eyeball, and tighten your buttocks, pour juice on your chin. I promised my girlfriend a violin. Just so you know, there's not like, there's like, yeah, there isn't a, okay, there's one question mark. That's the only punctuation. Other than like commas. There's one question mark, and it's, did I ever tell you the story of cowboys and midgets? That's the only the only punctuation in this entire paragraph that I'm reading.
Alright, dude, like, you will really enjoy, like, Since I Left You. I don't know about, you'll probably enjoy, everyone else who enjoyed Since I Left You enjoyed, the other Avalanches record, but that didn't...
Wildflower?
Yeah, that didn't have the... It doesn't seem to have, like, the staying power that Since I Left You has, but it's... You'll enjoy them. You'll have a nice little story to tell once you come back to us next week.
I have both of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to tell us a bit about your experience.
Woo.
Yeah, and if you can, try and fit in, there's this one song that was off of, like, an Avalanches EP. I can't remember the name, but it was featured in, a set of SFM videos where they're, like, heavily distorted and weird. If I could remember the name, I would tell you, but it's escaping me entirely. It's, like, not available anywhere but on the internet, specifically, like, from, like, file sharing sites, because it's not on any site where you can buy the song. It's, like, one really obscure EP by them.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know if it's even in my music collection. Is it? Oh, don't play that song. Let me see. The Avalanche. Oh, it's Undersea Community. Undersea Community. It's a very good song. It was, like, very late 90s, right before Since I Left You, but it was only on one EP. But Undersea Community is just a very good song. And it's a lot of the same, but it's got a nice kind of Since I Left You feeling. Like, they don't know exactly what they're doing. They're kind of being experimental. But they got a solid idea of where they want to go. And they're just kind of toying around with these thoughts. It was... If you can even find the whole EP, let me know so that I could probably try and grab it too, because I've wanted to listen to that whole EP ever since I discovered that song, like... I want to say, like... 4 years ago. Wow. It's funny, I didn't even listen to Since I Left You until, like, last year anyway, so it's just kind of like a big gap between, like, listening to this one esoteric song that got referenced once, and then listening to the actual full release, like, several years later.
I mean, I guess that's also representative of the large gap that there was between Since I Left You and Wildflower.
Yeah,
I mean,
enough.
that gap was longer, but, you know.
Was it, like, 15 years? Yeah.
16.
16, yeah. But, I mean, that's, yeah, it's representative. It's kind of funny how things worked out like that, huh? But,
I guess so.
Shoot, if I could at least fit in Wildflower to this week, that'd be great. But right now, I want to listen to, this Justin Arena CD I found lying around my house, looking back. And then I want to listen to this very esoteric CD, Moose Knuckles, You Done Fucked.
I have that on my computer.
We'll have to. I mean, if you want to check it out too this week, just to kind of like look back and see like what Andy was doing, and then kind of come back on it, that'd be pretty cool. Not an official review, because I think that'll be for Boxer's Jaw, since that's coming out the 2nd, or is it like the 1st? The first, yeah. So yeah, Boxer's Jaw, probably our official review for this upcoming episode.
Why are we saying probably?
Not probably, definitely. We are definitely reviewing it.
Yeah, like this time it's not even gonna be until the end of the episode that we're gonna tell you what we're reviewing next. It's Boxer's Jaw.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like once you saw it and once I saw it, we both kind of in our head went like we should be reviewing this. Or you probably thought other things like, holy crap, Boxer's Jaw. They're finally putting up something. But yeah,
I'm just gonna like make it official that was the end of the sentence. It was like, holy crap, Boxer's Jaw. That was the end. That's all I said.
Yeah, holy crap, Boxer's Jaw, yeah. But, so yeah, if you want to listen to You Done Fucked, and then we come together next week, too, just to kind of give our thoughts on what You Done Fucked was doing, I guess that'd be cool. But, I guess we'll see. But I guess, let's keep all the speculative talk and, what we've been listening to the side, because let's get divorced. I tried to make that transition smooth, but it didn't really work.
When does it ever? Alright, so we Get Divorced. This is an album by Miniature Philosopher, also known as Pat Malone.
Oh, can we just call it Mini Phil for this review? Because I feel like Miniature Philosopher is kind of a mouthful.
We could also call him Pat.
Oh yeah, Pat works too. Just call it. Let's just refer to this as Pat. If any of you are listening, when we say Pat, we mean Miniature Philosopher and the members that may be involved in it. Which
Pat.
Just Pat. All right. So, all right. What were your initial thoughts going into Get Divorced?
Well, because I have heard a song by him before on this split that he did with Brian Huntress. What I was aware of was the way that his voice sounded, which is kind of unique.
Yes, very unique.
Because sometimes he sounds like a cartoon character.
You mean sometimes? You mean a lot of the times? In a good way, though. I think he sounds like a cartoon character in a good way.
Well, yeah. I mean, I enjoy Jake Bug.
Jake Bug?
And Jake Bug has a very similar voice.
Is that an Adventure Time character? No.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like not familiar with Jake Bug.
Jake Bug is a musician. He's the singer-songwriter.
Okay, all right. My apologies. Someone just like keep a little counter of my transgressions against life itself, because I'm apparently racking them up right now.
I guess so.
Yeah. But so yeah, initial thoughts, like you were aware of his voice, but
you know, I thought that it would be a unique experience.
And was it a unique experience, you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I agree with that. You know, it kind of followed up on the like experimental. We've been going on a little bit of an experimental train, I think, with like last week's The Poncho People, and now Miniature Philosophers Get Divorced. It's kind of a focus on like kind of getting a little bit weird and experimental with his music that he seems to be doing. It's just kind of, when I read like the genre was twee pop, I was just like, okay, is this gonna be kind of just like twee pop, jangle pop? It's just gonna be kind of typical indie pop. And I thought, at the end of the record, I was like, I was completely wrong here. I was so wrong. Like he's got.
I mean that's a lo-fi record.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So that might be like, so you know, that might have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. The lo-fi and like all of the experimental stuff he wanted to do in there, it really served to be an interesting record that caught me off guard when I listened to it at first. And what I will say, above last week's record, it committed to that experimentation. It didn't just kind of ditch it halfway through and just play like traditional songs throughout the rest of the record. Not to like shit on Chris Finn's album, I enjoyed it, but this one kind of served up on the experimentation a lot better and committed to those ideas.
Yeah.
I will
the thing about this album, you know, the thing is, I don't really think of this album as something particularly experimental.
Really?
I mean, it's lo-fi, yeah, but like other than that, like other than the fact that it's recorded in a very low fidelity way, to me, it sounds like a folk singer-songwriter record.
Fair enough. I mean, I kind of characterize it a little bit as experimental because of all of like the other instruments that he kind of throws in there to kind of do something different with the instrumentals. He kind of tosses them around and kind of creates some sort of sonic cacophonies that can either hit or miss. And I feel like they hit or miss here and there, and that's kind of what I classify as his experimentation. It's not like heavily experimental music, but it's like small experiments here and there that he can like commit to without getting too atonal. If that makes sense.
I guess, but it just sounds to me as like like it's less of an experiment for it to sound like that.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. Yeah, like it's not definitely coming from you. It's not experimental at all. But for me, who like doesn't really listen to like Trap Mask Replica religiously, I see this as kind of experimental. I see this as like he is just kind of toying around with ideas, toying around with instruments that aren't always normally added in, and like the fidelity of the record kind of plays with how it's all added in a way that sort of creates a feeling of like experimentation, and it creates these ideas that may be in the head of someone who is not super familiar with experimental records. I tried having a coherent thought there, and if I lost it, my bad.
I guess. I guess it just doesn't sound all that much like that to me. But I mean, as a singer-songwriter folk record,
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I'd say like the lyrical themes, I could feel like the lyrical themes, they had an interesting grip on me because I could kind of understand some of the underlying themes. I could feel sort of connected to it. And through deeper analysis, like since we have the actual lyrics to analyze here instead of plucking them out of songs like last week, I could see like what he was doing, what he was getting at, and it felt like a neat experience, kind of seeing like various problems I can relate to, various little issues and bigger issues as outlined in like some songs. Just stuff I can kind of feel along to.
True, and it's always interesting. I always find it kind of cool how like what Pat does, and as well as other artists of the same vein in this local scene will actually bring up the names of places that I recognize.
Yeah. It kind of feels corny and like when big names do it, but like when I hear Pat talking about it, like Amherst and whatnot, and the Cape, it's kind of like, oh hey, that's pretty cool. I guess.
I don't think it's particularly corny when it's done by a big name. I just think it's cool that it's cool that he's doing it because it's like I know that place.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
I listen to Tom Waits a lot. That's half of his lyrics are like names of places.
I wouldn't say Tom Waits is like what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about just like the more mainstream singer-songwriters. Tom Waits is a little bit kind of set in the background of the mainstream, in my opinion, at least. It may be completely wrong in saying that.
Listen, the kind of singer-songwriters that you're talking about could say anything and it would sound corny.
True, yes.
They could say a good lyric and make it sound corny. That's the thing.
Yes, you are absolutely right there. But, so...
Although I will say, when it comes to Pat's lyrics, very occasionally sometimes it sounds a little bit like word salad.
Sometimes, yeah, but if you kind of take a look at what he's saying there, the themes kind of fit there. He's kind of spacing between actual telling of an event and kind of painting a picture for us. And yeah, sometimes it can seem like word salad, but if you analyze them deep enough, you can kind of see what's going on, the ideas that he's portraying, and what he wants you to feel when he's listening to the songs from him. But yeah, that's just...
It's just an occasional moment that I get that feeling. I guess another thing about the lyrics, that this isn't really a problem, it's just something that I have analyzed from listening to the album, is that, like, the way that he spaces the lines, like, one thing that he likes to do is he'll sing through the, okay, what I'm trying to say is his sentences don't usually end where the lines do. So we'll just have he'll have several lines of, like, one ongoing sentence. And, I mean, it works. I just noticed that he seems to do that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I like when artists do that. I know a couple artists that end up doing that throughout a bunch of their songs. It adds a nice effect to it. It's not something, one song, one line, digest all of that. It's one continuous line throughout the stanza, and digest all of that idea there. It is cool because it allows more depth to get into these singular ideas being brought up. But that's just me kind of diving deeply into writing styles. But let's see. Were there any songs that really just stood out to you on this record as a whole? Like the biggest songs, the songs that you love the most?
Yeah. Don't worry, I understood you.
Yeah.
Well, I especially enjoyed "I Hate Myself" and "666."
Yeah. I also enjoyed those.
A Requiem for Guinness the Parrot.
Yeah, that one was a fantastic one. A Requiem for Guinness the Parrot, honestly my favorite, just for... That's like a goofy song. I enjoyed it. It's just... It is like what every sort of person that has been with their overly right-wing uncle would sing about. I think... what was... Brian's girlfriend's project has a song similar to that.
Drunken Uncle.
Drunken Uncle, yeah. I remember like hearing about it a little while ago, and it's just kind of like, yeah. This kind of song, I can vibe with this kind of song.
True, and it's done in a unique way.
Yeah, like
it's telling that story based on talking about a parrot.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of that's the last place I would expect a sort of commentary on the overly right-wing uncle or family member, but it was kind of neat how it was framed. Yeah. And I guess, shall we give a moment of silence for Guinness the Parrot?
No.
Okay. I thought it'd be funny, but no, it doesn't work.
It does not.
Yeah.
There have probably already been plenty of moments of silence for Guinness the Parrot.
Yes, there has. There probably have been. As a Miniature Philosopher...
Now is not going to be one of them.
Now will not be one of them. Has Pat Malone played in the area recently?
I don't know.
Well...
If he has, I haven't been around for it.
Alright.
Unfortunately.
I don't know if that show that was on Saturday night was the Pat Malone show, but, Anywho, personally, I kind of want to say like 666 was one of the most powerful songs on the record, honestly. Like, kind of listening to that and kind of, it just sounded like the verbal expression of someone our age going through a serious depression, and at the same time as like everyone's going away, taking off for their own lives, and trying to figure out your own life yourself and figure out what your future will be.
Well, yeah, that seems to be exactly what it is.
Yeah, I feel like that song is like the most potent depression song that I've ever listened to, honestly. Like, it really reaches at the core of what feeling like that is gonna be. And I don't know, I like it for like how much it just relates to me. I like it for its instrumentation too. It's got a nice feeling to it. It's put together very well, and it's a more standout song on this record than the title track and the opening track itself, honestly.
True, but I mean, with that being the subject matter of 666, it I guess it does kind of add a bit of a thematic piece, since, with Get Divorced and some of the later songs, it seems like it's being sung from the point of view of someone older, someone who's married.
Yeah.
And everything, well, Get Divorced as well as Over Easy, I guess. Those kinds of things.
Yeah. Now that you kind of bring that up, I always visioned like the first like 7 songs of the record being kind of from someone our age, but now that I kind of look back on it, those songs are for like someone 10 years our senior looking back on their life and kind of seeing the progression of life in time, whereas 8, 9, and 10 are all tracks based on like their current feelings and their current situations and whatnot. Well, with maybe 8 being more along the lines of sitting back and like kind of watching what your life had been in the past like 10 or so years.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting...
I guess that theory is supported by the album cover.
Yeah. And I'd say overall, like the lyrical themes explored throughout this album are very effective in what they want to do and kind of show off what their life has been like and kind of give a reference point for people who are going through similar stuff.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I have against 666 is when the vocal sample comes in at the very end of it. It's a little bit clustered by the music a bit. I feel like you could have a lot more power if the music were a little bit toned back and it wasn't as like things being thrown in there, but still is effective. It's even with all of the little pieces. So that's my only tiny gripe with the track, and I think everything else kind of follows the same suit. Like, there's always room for improvement, but from what I'm seeing here, this is very good, and everything's put together very well. Like, Pat Malone has got like what seems like 10 or so years of music experience, and it really comes through and shows with his composition styles, from writing lyrics to writing instrumentals to putting it all together and piecing it together, mashing it up, and making it sound how he wants to.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of sums up my thoughts on Get Divorced. It was a very well put together record. It's something that really speaks to me. It can speak to other people. It's got a lot of relevance even in the modern day, even if it's written from someone who may be like several years our senior. Relevant to someone of our age, relevant to someone who's going through all of these issues.
Yeah. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other like remaining thoughts you want to give out on Get Divorced before we conclude this part of the episode?
Not really.
Alright, I'd just like to say that Punk Song is fantastic and probably one of the best non-punk punk songs ever.
Woo!
So I give this album a punk song out of 10, minus 2 punk songs for being, well, not for being, for mentioning Blink-182 in one instance.
Okay, so in that case, it would be, so you give it -1 punk song?
Yes, -1 punk song, multiplied by 7. Multiplied by...
So you give it -7 punk songs.
Yes, but it's not bad. Just -7 punk songs.
Alright.
Alright, and what about you?
Fuck your rating system.
Yes, fuck my rating system. Out of 10.
That wasn't a rating, that was a rebellion.
Okay, well, sure, yes. Rebel against it. Rebel against the system.
Okay, cool.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Let's see.
As for news, Greg Allman died. That's upsetting.
Greg Allman? That honestly, like, really... I didn't notice that. What happened to him?
He died?
Just he died?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't really know the details, I just know that he died and he was a member of the Allman Brothers. I also believe he was like 70. So I mean it makes sense, but
we're just gonna keep like hearing day after day, well not even day after day, but like we're just gonna keep hearing like all of these fantastic artists passing, and it's just gonna suck.
True, but I mean, a lot of these artists that we're talking about were all came out and were all popular around the same time.
Yeah, fair enough.
So with that in mind, it's not entirely surprising that they're all dying at the same time.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like, they're all kind of dealing with their own health problems now that they're in their, like, late ages. Like, Bowie and, well, Allman passing with liver cancer. We're just gonna see all of these artists kind of going. We're just gonna have to deal with people dying, because I mean, that's a natural thing in life. But, any other news that really popped out to you this week?
When does news ever pop out to me?
Fair enough. I'm just gonna check on Pitchfork to see if there's anything interesting. I'm gonna find a better site for this, because I don't know, I just don't like Pitchfork that much. Let's see, what is the latest? Let's see, Fleet Foxes, Greg Allman. Let's see, LCD Sound System says new album is finished. That's cool. I never really listened to them, but I should at some point. But let's see. I feel like there was something I saw earlier this week, but it's escaping me entirely. I feel like this may be it for this episode.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, anything that's coming up down the pipeline, or something that's coming up that you are really looking forward to, Cameron?
Not that I know of.
Alright, cool. Avalanches are working on a new album. I guess that's fitting for what we discussed prior to the review.
Wow, I guess I gotta listen to the Avalanches albums then.
Yeah. Really catch up, my friend.
Okay, I'll do that then.
But I think I've got nothing really coming up the pipeline. I just got a lot of work, and I think that'll wrap it up for tonight. It's a short episode for today. Again, thank you, Cameron, for being so flexible and moving this to a Monday with me.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back hopefully without any interruption Sunday to review Boxer's Jaw's new record, Summer to Summer. Or is it an EP? I think it's an EP. Winter to Winter. I named that completely wrong. But yeah, we'll be back to review that Sunday, 7 p.m. unless we say otherwise. And until then, I'm a nerd.
I'm a musician.
And have yourselves a good night, folks. See you later.
Bye.